Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and back to another video. So first things first, I'm a little bit stressed out today, I'm not gonna lie, because it is tax season and your boy has been up all morning long trying to gather all of his tax forms to submit to the IRS because Uncle Sam wants his money. And it's been a bit of a difficult process getting all the forms together. There's some forms that I haven't been able to receive yet from Google AdSense and it's stressing me out just a little bit, but it's okay. It's okay. But I figured let me take a break and talk to my family, talk to my people so we can do another reaction video because I know you guys love these. Now, I know I've been doing a lot of woke TikTok videos lately of people on the left who are really extreme when it comes to things like race and gender ideology and all sorts of things under that umbrella. But I decided today I would do something a little bit different. So I'm still going to be reacting technically to woke TikTok, but I'm going to be reacting to people who are unwoke responding to the woke, if that makes sense. So pretty much people with common sense, people on the right side of things, literally, who are clapping back at the crazy wokies. I figured that'll be a fun video to do because I know sometimes it can be exhausting as viewers to constantly hear leftist views nonstop. It's exhausting. I know it is. Trust me, I react to them. It's exhausting. So I figured this would be a different type of video, but still in the realm of reacting to the crazy. So without further ado, sit back, relax, let's enjoy the show because trust and believe is going to be a show. And on that note, let's start.
Stop gatekeeping periods. We are not the only ones who have periods.
Let's not confuse symptoms of HRT with an egg traveling down the fallopian tube and having real shedding of blood, which you do not have. You don't have fallopian tubes. You don't have a cervix. It is scientifically impossible. When I see these videos, I see like people campaigning so that others will believe their delusion and they'll feel validated because somebody is giving them the attention that whatever they perceive is validated. And that's just not healthy and it's not science, it's not true. HRT gives you symptoms because you have higher hormones, but you're not having the actual blood shedding. That's just reality.
Well, what a great start. So first of all, what I love about that video is, as you notice, the TikTok user looks to be in a medical setting. Now, I don't know if she's a nurse or a doctor, but I do know that she is in some type of medical field, which is amazing to see because number one, it's a biological woman speaking up. Number two, it's a biological woman who understands what science is and understands biology and understands differences between chromosomes and the male body and the female body, and they're in the medical field, which is very refreshing because I've done many videos about woke doctors and doctors who tend to not treat these problems, but instead they affirm these problems. So it's really refreshing to see somebody with a sound mind speaking up in the field of medicine who is also a biological woman speaking up, because sadly there are so many biological women who are afraid to speak up and say this truth because they don't want to be canceled. And so they're making room for these biological men, these trans-identifying men, to come into their spaces and redefine what a woman is, redefine womanhood, redefine what a period is, which is insane to me. So that video was amazing. So important to speak up on these topics and to not stay silent and to not be quiet, because trust and believe, the trans-identifying men that are coming up right now, they're loud and proud. And they want to silence you and shut you up and make you redefine what it means to be a woman and make you redefine your own experience. And that's just that's just crazy to me. It's crazy, and we cannot sit by and bury our heads in the sand and pretend like this is normal behavior, because it's not. And she's absolutely correct. HRT gives you symptoms, okay, like cramping, that may be similar to what a menstrual cycle is, but it is not the same thing. It's not the same thing. If you stop taking your HRT tomorrow, the cramps will go away. Let's respect that, and let's respect women and stop trying to redefine what womanhood is just to appease delusional men. Next video.
My period I experience every month is very real.
No, you're not getting a period as a trans woman. A period is a biological process that extends further than just estrogen existing in the body. It has nothing to do with gender and has everything to do with the reproductive organs that you were born with. You can simply be having an empathetic response to things that biological women go through. This is something that transgender women go through from time to time, but you can't blur the line between biological processes and gender. I get pretty emotional, and some days are worse than others. I do get cramps. Sometimes my notice that my tits are more sensitive than usual. But that's not me experiencing a period or having PMS symptoms, because I don't even have the parts to do that to begin with. Perhaps an investigation on the empathetic response that trans women experience towards biological women's process is warranted. However, you can't just hijack the word period or PMS to define what you're experiencing. Plus, try peddling this shit to any woman that's experienced a hysterectomy, because they can't get periods either. And I guarantee they're more knowledgeable than your subjective opinion.
Woo! That's how you drop the mic. And if you guys notice, this user appears to be a trans identifying man. Who knew? So it's really refreshing, like the last video, to see people in these areas speaking up and not being afraid to speak truth. Because at the end of the day, truth shouldn't be offensive. It's just truth. So I love the fact that this person, who you would assume on the outside would have certain views, completely dismantles that whole idea by speaking common sense. By saying, look, I'm a trans person and I take HRT, and yes, I get symptoms, but that is not called a period. Let's stop trying to hijack the word to make ourselves feel better, because that's not what it is. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. Own your own stuff without trying to hijack other people's experiences to make you feel better. So I gotta give this person a whole lot of credit for speaking up, speaking out, even though I'm sure they probably got canceled by the left and by the trans community, because they are very mob-like when it comes to their ideas, their opinions, their thoughts, and their ideologies. So it's refreshing. Very, very refreshing. All right, now let's go into a different topic, which is going to be race issues, because we know they always pop up. So let's hear what some unwoke people have to say about this issue.
Dear white saviors, I think the most repulsive trend that I've experienced as a woman who happens to be black is the endless coddling and victimization from people like you. And by the way, I don't mean all white people. I'm speaking directly to the folks who think treating blacks like babies or making excuses for them is somehow gonna change the world for the better. White saviorism is a phenomenon that convinced agreeable people that they're somehow responsible for fighting injustice and dismantling barriers of systemic oppression because of the superiority or white privilege they inherited at birth. This idea has been driven by misguided notions of social justice, which create false representations of black people being weak, incapable, and in need of protection from the white supremacy boogeyman. Just to be clear, I am not diminishing the hardships that some people might face. In actuality, I acknowledge that the world is hard.
All right. Yeah, I mean, she dropped the mic. She completely dropped the mic in that video, hands down. I just did a video about white saviorism too. So it's funny that everything she was saying is exactly what I feel. It's like these white liberals, they mean well, but they end up, at the end of the day, they end up just displaying how prejudiced they are and how low and little they think of black and brown people. Every single time I hear a white savior person coming in to save the day with their cape, all I hear is black people aren't smart enough. Black people aren't strong enough. Black people aren't knowledgeable enough. They need our help. Please tell me how that is supposed to empower any group of people when you're sitting there and pretty much diminishing their own power, diminishing their mind, diminishing their own work. I did a video literally the other day talking about white saviors who were trying to make sense of voting rights and supposed voter suppression. And many of them were saying things like, black people don't have IDs because black people don't know how to use the internet. Yeah. And black people are not knowledgeable on how to get to the DMV to pick up their IDs. They just don't know how to do that kind of stuff. I mean, this is what they were saying. And they were saying it proudly, like they were defending black people. It was insane to me. It was insane. It was embarrassing. I mean, I had secondhand embarrassment watching it. It was so crazy and cringe. But that's what white saviorism is. It's, we have to come in as white people and pick up the sword for black people and Latino people and make up for our ancestors 500 years ago. Make it make sense. You can't. So I love that response that she had. Now we're gonna check out a video that is an ad that is supposed to be about being anti-woke in the workplace. And from the looks of it, it's gonna be a good one.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke.
When I grow up,
I want to be hired based on what I look like.
rather than my skills, I want to be judged
By my political beliefs,
I want to get promoted.
based on my chromosomes. When I grow up, I want to be offended
by my coworkers,
and walk around the office
On eggshells.
and have my words policed
by HR. Words like
grandfather,
peanut gallery.
Long time no see.
No can do.
When I grow up,
I want to be obsessed with emotional safety and do workplace sensitivity training all day long. When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder.
just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist. I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.work.
That was amazing. That has to be one of the best videos that I have seen in a very, very long time. And I love the fact that it is an actual company, redballoon.work. Wow. I'm going to go online and check them out because that's freaking brilliant. And the fact that they use kids to do this ad is so perfect because kids are the ones that are going to be the most affected by this woke ideology, right? This super ultra sensitive environment that we are creating for young people to look around and only see race, color, gender, or no gender at all, and just this very fragile perspective of the world. Adults today are putting this on kids. So I love the fact that it was children that were regurgitating this garbage and pretty much throwing in the whole woke ideology back in their faces. I want to be judged based on the color of my skin. I want to be policed by HR. I want to have my pronouns policed. Like, I can't use words like grandfather. I mean, you can't make it up. Grandfather is now offensive. Mother is offensive. Breastfeeding is offensive. Those words are offensive, supposedly. Like I said earlier, the only way to fight against this nonsense is to do stuff like this. Make videos about it, comment about it, fight back. I love seeing companies fighting back like this because I'm sure Red Balloon faced a whole lot of backlash. I'm sure of it. But what they're pretty much saying is we don't care. We're tired of it. We're not going to be bullied into your ideology. We're not going to be bullied to walk through the workplace the way that you want us to walk through the workplace. And we're tired of you hijacking the world and hijacking children and their future. We're tired of it. So we're going to fight back. I love it. I freaking love it. I'm going to watch this video again offline because this is so good. I love it. All right, back to gender ideology. Now, this is a video that is commenting on a story that I recently came across. I haven't talked about it yet on this channel, but it's of a father, I think in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong though. Anyway, a father who is being jailed because he didn't want to give puberty blockers to his 8-year-old son, but his mom wanted that to happen. So she filed the police report against him, and the law came and took his son away from him. Let's watch this video.
Stories like this are becoming way too common, and it's time we talk about it. A father in New York State just lost custody of his 8-year-old child because he did not want his kid to transition his gender. The father and mother are no longer together, and the father one day received a letter from the school with a different name and had a female gender, and he had no idea what was going on. Apparently, the mother started dressing the boy up as a girl, giving him a girl's name and treating him like a girl at her house, and then when he went over to the dad's house, the dad had no idea. This young father spent 6 figures, all of his life savings, fighting the situation. He had to take the kid to therapy, which was court-ordered, and the therapy wasn't even covered by his insurance. The mom was convinced that the kid was trans, but the father refused to believe it and never got a diagnosis for gender dysphoria. To make matters worse, the father not only had to pay his legal fees, he was ordered to pay the wife's legal fees as well. Another point I want to make is something we don't talk about enough in society, but a lot of these court-ordered family therapists, not all of them, they benefit and thrive off of creating chaos in your family. This father had to pay heaps of money to a therapist when he didn't even believe his child was transgender. The kid was coming over to his house acting like a boy and everything was hunky-dory. Now the boy is 8 years old and says, I want to be a boy, I want to dress as a boy, I don't feel like a girl, but the mom still refers to the boy with they, them pronouns and uses a girl's name. Now the father has no medical authority over the child whatsoever, and the father said, look, I know people are going to think I'm bigoted, they're going to think I'm conservative. He's like, I don't care, I just don't think my kid is trans. Stories like this are unfortunately appearing more and more every single week. There was just a child taken away from their family in Montana. We're going to keep seeing this more and more, and I honestly think it's a new form of an epidemic. There was a video going around a few days ago where a little boy was at the doctor being injected with hormones because the mom was convinced the boy was a girl, and the boy was crying and sobbing. I don't know what it is. I think maybe there are some moms out there who having a trans child is like a status symbol. They think it's really modern. They think it's hip. They think it's cool. If your child is crying and saying they are not transgender and you continue to push it onto them, you should not be the parent of that child anymore. But unfortunately, the opposite is happening. Kids are being taken away from the parent who actually has common sense. You guys know how I feel. I do not think kids should be able to have gender transition surgeries or be injected with hormones until they are 18 years old. I'm not saying everyone has to agree with me, but what I am saying is that this father deserves to have some medical custody over his child, okay? He's being X'd out because he does not want his kid to transition his gender via the mother. Mothers like this are honestly giving me Gypsy Rose Blanchard vibes, Munchausen by proxy, where they continue to push it onto their kids when their kids say, I'm fine, I don't feel this way. Alright, thank you guys for liking and following. Drop a comment and tell me how you feel about this situation. You know I'm always down for an open dialogue. I will see you on the next one. Bye.
Wow. So, correction, it wasn't Canada, it's New York City, which is even crazier because I thought, okay, if it's Canada, it's a different country. And I know Canada is very liberal, so I would expect that in Canada. But the fact that this is happening in the States, even though I know New York is a very liberal state, trust me, I know that. But still, the fact that in America, in the USA, a parent can have their parental rights taken away from them if they do not want to assist doctors in abusing children and giving them hormone therapy and doing surgeries that are equivalent to mutilation of their bodies. And the fact that the mother is the one who is the driving force behind this, that this kid at 8 years old is now saying, I don't want to be a girl, I want to be a boy, and the mom is still referring to them as they, them. Lord. The fact that he lost custody and not her. The fact that he has to pay medical bills to an affirming doctor who we all know their job is to continue affirming because that affirmation puts money in their pockets because that child will keep going to their clinic, and if they prescribe them medication or they prescribe them surgery, that's more money in their clinic's pocket. It's all a big money scheme. Trust and believe. That's just disgusting to me. That upsets me on so many levels. But it's refreshing to see creators like this young man speaking up and talking about this, because the only way that we make change is by bringing awareness and talking about it unapologetically, so with your chest out. Talk about it. Don't be afraid. Yes, the mob will come for you, so what? I just hope and pray that this poor child, that this poor boy is not going to be traumatized for the rest of his life, thinking about how his mother took him to the hospital every single month to get hormone shots, forcing him to be a gender that he does not identify as. Sick. Absolutely sick. Alright, I figured we would end on a more lighter note, so I'm going to be reacting to a Ben Shapiro video as he is reacting to woke TikTok because Ben's reactions are always the best. He loves to do TikTok woke reactions as well because there's just so much material for us. There's just so much. So without further ado, let's end on Ben Shapiro.
Next up is Deborah. Before Israel had kings, they had judges. The only judge that was a woman was Deborah. She was also the leader of the military and kicked the Canaanites' ass in a setting where women were treated like property and their value was based on how many kids they had. Deborah said, your gender standards.
What? Wait, again, I'm so confused. So Deborah is a judge who's also a general, and she goes out to war with Barack. This means somehow she's a trans lesbian or something? Why? You can't just say she's a powerful woman. Apparently, she was a lifelong single woman with 8 cats who was just really good at generaling. That's strange, isn't it? Okay, I need to check something here in the actual, biblical text.
Here we go.
Quote, this is from Judges, Book of Judges 5:7. You ready? Chadlu frazon b'Yisrael, chadelu ad shekamti dvora shekamti em b'Yisrael. Okay, the last few words there means arose a mother in Israel. That's Deborah describing herself. A mother in Israel. Apparently she violates the gender non-binary because she's a lesbian or something. A mother... Okay, continue.
Lastly, we got all of our eunuchs. What is a eunuch? Most people think it means a man who's been castrated. It can also just mean an effeminate man who's not interested in women. Jesus said that there's 3 kinds of eunuchs. Eunuchs by birth, eunuchs who were made so by others, and eunuchs who chose to be eunuchs. And you know what Jesus said about them? Love and accept them all. Gender is a construct and it's all affirmed in the good book itself.
Huh? So, if Jesus says to accept people who have been castrated.
I've been castrated,
Somehow this is equivalent to a man can be a woman now? Fascinating. Fascinating. Okay. I feel like there's a jump there that is kind of goes unnamed.
There is nothing more frustrating to me than when people like this on the left, the extreme left, when they try to purposefully disrespect the Bible and they try to redefine it to fit their narrative. I mean, how low can you go? Seriously. And I'm sorry, but I only see this happening when it comes to Christianity. I don't see people doing this to the Quran, to Buddhists, to Hindus. I mean, everybody respects those religions, right? We can't touch those religions. But when it comes to Christianity, when it comes to Christ, when it comes to the Bible, it seems like it's a free-for-all. For leftist nut jobs like this, I'm assuming, dude posing as a woman, trying to justify their decisions in life and their delusional perspective of chromosomes. The fact that they're using Deborah, a very well-known woman in the Bible who was a leader, who was a pivotal person in the story of the Jews when it comes to the Old Testament, but nowhere did she ever preach herself that we should tear down the patriarchy, you know what I'm saying? Or that she had no gender, or anything of that sort. Like, that never came out of her mouth. But it's like people like this love to take a little bit of truth and then exploit it to justify their own perspective, because they know that the people that they are talking to most likely haven't opened the Bible a day in their life. So it's like, oh, the Bible says that? Cool. Thanks for letting me know. And it's like, you gotta fact check these people because they love to lie, and it's just deplorable to me. It's disgusting. It's like, leave the Bible out of it. Do what you want to do, live your life, but stop trying to attack Christianity and attack the Bible to fit your narrative. Because if you did that to any other religion or any other religious group, it would be a problem. We all know this. For some reason, when it's the Bible, who cares? Anyway, I'm glad that Ben responded the way that he did. And I'm glad overall that all of these people in these videos spoke up and spoke out and refused to be silent, because like I always say, silence is being complicit. Speak up. And if you don't want to speak up, watch the videos, like the videos, share the videos, make sure that people know that the truth is out there. Don't just let these woke crazy people control the narrative, because people like myself, we're out here and we are not going to be silent anytime soon. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of these anti-woke videos and these response videos from people who are sick and tired of the wokies like I am. If you enjoy my content, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you know when I post a brand new video. I'm available on all social media platforms under CurlyBoyChuck. Until next time, peace.